Hey metal fans, Mike with MikeOnMetal here with your weekly mom-approved metal picks. Each week I'll be offering up my 3 top albums from the previous week in death metal, black metal, and core genres. Now, death metal can include anything from old school death metal to brutal death, technical death, HM2, progressive, and other death-related subgenres. All that good stuff that I know so many of you are foaming at the mouth for. Same goes for black metal. We'll be touching on just straight up black metal, some atmospheric black, post-black, and even some fringe stuff like dungeon synth, if I'm in the mood. No corpse paint on me, though. The core section, we're going to look at deathcore, metalcore, grindcore, various other core subgenres, because I know some of you love your core bands. I get it that it's not for everyone, but I've got some connection there with some of the bands in these genres in my so-called re-origin story that we'll get into at some point. Now, as this is my first weekly video, a couple of things to get out of the way. While I have been a metal fan for nearly 40 years, I did take quite a long hiatus from looking for new metal. I became comfortable with the 4 or 5 bands that I found in my early to late teens and just never really ventured outside of that bubble. Recently, in the last couple of years, a few bands pulled me back in. One was Orbit Culture with the Descent album, something I just couldn't stop listening to after the first play. So the next was Lamb of God. They were one of the first bands I saw live after an extremely long break from going to shows. Prior to this last year, I could count on both hands the number of bands that I'd seen live. So now just in 2025 alone, I've been to over 30 shows. I've seen over 100 bands perform, and it's just been an amazing year. The last one is Whitechapel. Again, a band with a different sound. It was the Valley that pulled me in, and then their latest album, Hymns and Dissonance, is just a very strong contender for my deathcore album of the year. Now, next up, I'm no expert, and I will never claim to be. I'm here to learn as much as I am to share, so I might get some details incorrect here and there. I'm going to try not to, but should I fuck something up, don't hesitate to leave a comment and correct me. Help me learn, help me understand, teach me what you guys know. I'm only doing this I just want to have fun with it. I want to share the music that I'm finding, and what better way to do it than on YouTube. Now last, I don't always have the handlebars and push the James Hetfield look this hard, but it is Movember, so I had to do something, and I figured since every show I go to, someone says, hey, you look like James Hetfield, I might as well push it to the limit for this month. We'll see if it sticks around after Movember, but I mean, who knows? All right, let's get into the music for this. Now, I promise the intros won't always be this long after this first video. Don't forget to stick around, though, until the end for this week's Ripped From The Crypt. This is where I'm going to pick something from the past 30 years, but more on that before that segment. So for black metal this week, I've got 3 different albums. Like I said, number 3 is Temple of Katharsis with Worshippers of the Ancient Necromancy. Number 2 in black metal for me this week was Megalith with Old Throne. And my top pick for black metal is Nøkk with Heartless. There was quite a bit of black metal released this week, but Nøkk was the top pick for me. And again, I'm sorry if I'm butchering any of these names. We've got a really fun one coming up to pronounce in the core section. It feels almost blasphemous to have 3 metal bands listed here and none of them from the areas where like the first and second waves of black metal came from or have their origins, but I mean, here we are. Now, Nøkk are from the US and have put out what I consider to be an incredible black metal album. It's atmospheric without being overly produced. There's raw emotion in the vocals. There's also a rawness to the production, but it doesn't sound like it was recorded like on a 2-track in somebody's basement, so it's not that raw. Now, as a debut album, I'm really hoping to hear more from this Ohio-based band and would love to see them on tour with this album. Next up in the death metal category, I've got number 3 is Karu with Perdition. Number 2, I've got Human with Concetto Transuente. Sorry if that's butchered. And my number 1 in the death metal genre is Depravity with Bestial Possession. Now, 1 minute shy of 40 minutes of death metal perfection, if you ask me. This is 9 tracks of just relentless, full-speed assault. We really need to make death metal sensory vests that give us the experience of being at a live show while listening to these albums. You know, something where you could actually feel every bass hit, guitar riff, and drum beat in your chest. Actually, no, wait. Let's forget that. That would just mess up all the excitement of going to live shows, so never mind. Anyway, this is one of those albums that just starts on warp speed, somehow pushes past it. If there's anything faster than warp speed, then that's kind of where this album goes. I feel like you almost need to take a break, or at least a mental break, after every few tracks, just to let your brain catch up to what you're just experienced. I don't know how Transcending Obscurity does it, but their roster of artists just never ceases to amaze me. Every single time one of their new artist announcements hits my inbox, I know my eardrums are in for a beating. Now, Depravity is definitely no exception here. I really hope you enjoyed this album as much as I have. All right, last but not least, okay, least for some of you, but hopefully not for all, we've got the core metal. This is the one. So it's Fordærv Nogen Skal. I totally butchered that, I know, I hope, but it'll be on the screen for you with the album. Number 2, I have Spleen Flipper, Through the Ashes of Mankind. This one hits more in the blackened melodic death metal and deathcore, so it's a little bit of an overlap album. And lastly, number 1 for me in this one, we're hitting another deathcore. It's Ishimura with Darkish. Now, I know I've lost some of you by this point, which is really too bad because the top album here is a straight up banger. This thing is heavy, it's dark, and it's brutal in all the best ways. No judgment to any of those that left, of course. They really just don't know what they're missing out on, though. Well, this one is listed as deathcore. It's just so much more than that, and I'm here for all of it. It's got touches of technical death. It's got atmosphere. There's some blackened influences in there, some groove. I listened to this album no less than half a dozen times since it came out on Friday, and I'm shooting this on Saturday. I really hope to see this one released on vinyl so I can actually add it to my physical collection. Okay, and my Ripped From The Crypt for this week is something that I discovered during this past week that I want to share. I know I'm not the only one that took a break from finding new music over the last 30 years. I also know some of you are just getting back into metal or into metal for your first time, so maybe you just haven't dug back very far yet. Now, these might be albums that I've missed from earlier this year that I want to bring some attention to. They might also be albums going back to as early as like 94, the year that I cut off all my hair and became something that took me nearly 30 years to shake off. So this week's Ripped From The Crypt is Afflicta with Origin of Sorrow. Now, anyone that's been following me on Threads knows that I'm a sucker for technical death metal. There's just something I find soothing and calming about its frenetic pace, but I'm also just in awe of the musicianship. I'm starting to learn how to play guitar again, and hearing and seeing these guys play guitar the way that they do just blows my mind every time. I think I've mentioned this a few times over the past year in my threads or in a couple of other posts that there just must be something in the water in Italy. They seem to be able to push out some incredible tech death bands, and Afflicta is honestly no exception. Origin of Sorrow was released on January 31st of this year, 2025. I absolutely love everything about this album, from the cover to the vocal styles. There's like these short sections of little bass solos that peek through. It's everything I love about tech death wrapped into a tidy little package. It's 8 tracks, almost 40 minutes long, and so many little surprise moments that I don't want to spoil any of it for you. I just want you to go, have a listen, and then hopefully enjoy this one as much as I have since I found it earlier this week. All right, everyone, that's it for this first Mom-approved metal. Very first week. I hope you dug it. We're going to dig into that saying, Mom-approved metal, in a future video. You can reach out to me on Threads if you want to know more about it. Make a comment below. I appreciate y'all being here. I hope you stick around. I really don't want to do that YouTube thing, so I'm not going to. Let's just end this the way that I ended some other stuff. Support your local scene. Buy the damn album, and whatever you do, stay heavy.